Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Eric with OzoneTCG. Today we're taking a look at some Albaz Despia Adventure versus Prank Kids Adventure. We're going to go ahead and show off 3 matches just to show you kind of some variance with the hands, some side deck choices. Why CS is going on right now. Please be sure to watch that, of course, just to see what the meta is. This is going to be versus, we're going to have a series versus the current meta with Albaz. Different Albaz type, both Adventure and more of the Despia heavy version. Again, this is going to be the Adventure Albaz version. We're going to go ahead and show off just some of these just so you guys know exactly what you should be doing, or seeing kind of the interactions you have to play versus if you're going to be playing Albaz, or if you're playing against Albaz, what to know. Let's go ahead and get right on into it. Alrighty, so it looks like the Prank Kids player is going to be going first. Alrighty, place, Veiler, Ash, and Suffusion place. This is a really strong hand, and unfortunately looks like the Albaz player does not have anything, nothing really, unfortunately. Okay, searches Lampsies, goes chaining 1 Lampsies, of course. Okay. This is pretty much a standard Prank Kids board. Alrighty. Pranks, alright. Yep. Get the extra body, and then you get to go into that. Yep. Typical. Looks like it goes Pandemonium and Dropsies. Okay. Also pretty typical. Instant Fusion, of course. So he's back down to 8,000, which is still crazy because if you were to do this in time, you would still win, you know, at the end of the main phase because you're still up 500 life points. Alrighty. Summons Meow, and that, and then goes Verte. And at this point, you wouldn't go into Verte if you were in time, of course. Or at least not use its effect. So DPE, Verte, and you're going to be staring down a Battle Butler, Regeki twice. So it's going to wait until the main phase to use DP's effect, destroying Verte in itself. Which, pretty typical, of course, and then he gets the draw. Let's see. So shuffles 2 in the extra deck, and 1 into the main. Alright, that's pretty good. Hey, oh, draw phase. DP, wow. This is still kind of crazy. Okay, nothing else, so he has to summon a Destiny Hero. I think Dasher is always going to be correct to do. Yeah. Right? Okay. This still kind of sucks because you can't really get anything from this, so you can't do the Aliber because of Rite of Aramesir. And then go. So he's thinking he's gonna probably Regeki. He's playing around that. Okay. Gets the Regeki twice. Fast forward. Yep. And this is so he still gets 3 monsters. Yeah, okay. Of course. Down 7,000, gain 1,000, yep. Equal. So right here, I think he uses the Regeki because if he searches, you still get the body, you still kind of get the negate, and that the Draco back is still a threat as well. Still going to use that effect though, so that's huge. Ash on here, I think it would have been fine. And that Pandemonium shouldn't be in the graveyard. Here, the Ash, so if Ash weren't there, you would have gone Fateful Adventure, add whatever, probably Griffin, and then go discard Despia Tragedy searches, add Libitum, or Despia Comedy. I'm not sure which would have been the better play. Yeah, and he just scoops from there, because of the Ash. You can play around the Veiler with Brandon in red. And of course, the Destiny player, Albaz player, is going to go first. Let's go ahead and see. Not the best hand, but enough. And then the Prank Kids player has a stacked hand. Nibiru is not great in this matchup. I think there isn't a whole lot of other sides in this matchup for this Prank Kids player, so they just kept it Nibiru. And sometimes you can play it. We'll have to see what they do. Ash for Brandon in red is going to be huge too. The token collector kind of really hurts this, especially with this hand specifically, because they're always going to try and go Fateful Adventure, Chainlink 2, Kids from summon from the deck, Chainlink 1. And then this is good too, in that you can chain Comedy after discarding it. So if you go Lubellion, discard Comedy, you can immediately chain Despian Comedy, special summon it for free, and then Lubellion doesn't have to remove itself from the field, because it can just shuffle itself from the graveyard. That's a really fun play. And then Lubellion for Mirror Jade. So then you still have bodies on board, and then go banish Albaz. Branded Dragon. Pretty typical. I think the only way that you really lose this in this position is if you have Bell. Which he has DD Crow, which is almost as strong as that. Because if you DD Crow the target, then they don't get the they don't get the fusion summon. It says, then you can apply the following effect. Token collector. Okay, let's see what happens next. Goes there. It doesn't have the negate, doesn't have token collector in the side. I think the Kids player was just using one of the top lists you saw recently, just to kind of try it out. So there was no token collector on that side. DD Crow is going to be big. Yeah. And kind of just banish. Although, even though that you don't get the banish or anything, this is still pretty massive, because I think you just end on the Kids stuff, and I'm not sure what the Kids player can exactly do, because Verte doesn't really matter. Yeah, and that should have been in the graveyard. The Ash Blossom is still big too, though, of course. But honestly, I guess you could go. See, if you clear the board, that's the only thing. If you clear the board, it doesn't really matter, because this is going to trigger. You still have token collector in the graveyard. You can't really banish it. So even if you go like Verte, it just doesn't even matter at that point. There's not a whole lot. So this is where the Kids player banishes Nibiru. I don't know if this was necessarily correct to do. And the reason being is that turn 2, so the Albaz players next turn, they're going to have to really try and push for game, and sometimes they go over the 5 monster summon. Yeah, I don't know if that's correct. I think Crossout would have been better, though I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I think banishing Crossout would have just been better. I'm not sure what the card to get would have been. With the Designator on the left. I don't know. Yeah, so ending on this is not great, but at least if you do this, bow out during the opponent's turn, they can't destroy your monsters by card effects. That's the one good thing. So you just float, you keep all your monsters, so Mirror Jade just doesn't matter. Then Mirror Jade can't use this effect again. What is he going to do here? Oh, yeah. So he's probably going to play around something. Yeah, okay. I agree. Lampses and oh no, he goes Lampses and drops. Okay, yeah, could go to Butler. But you still just banish the Lampses in that case. That kind of sucks too. Which I think that the Albaz player saw that, just to see, or he saw that hey, you probably don't have a Kids in hand. If you do, cool, I'll still be able to play through it, because I'm just banish Butler. Because if they had Butler, yeah, I was gonna say Chainlink 1, Mirror Jade, Chainlink 2, Pandemonium. That would never make sense though to do, because then you just banish the Butler. This is really, really good, because then you get the summon and you get the add off of Tragedy, or you can save the Tragedy, set Brandon Red, which I think that's what they're gonna do. Let's see. No, okay, so they do. I feel like it would have been more correct in that case to go ahead and set the Branded Fusion and then have... Yeah, I feel like it would have been better just to go Albaz, Chainlink 1, and add Brandon Red to push for game. because then Brandon Red would attack whatever he summons, and then has the Brandon Fusion the graveyard. Though he wouldn't have a discard, so that does make sense. I think that's probably why. Yeah. Oh wait, no, I guess it wouldn't matter because you can get ad libitum. You can add that back to hand instead. You just discard it for the Rebellion. So. Celestial. Okay, interesting. Really the only real dark target in that case. So this is what I meant by Nibiru being relevant in this case. Because they could have Nibiru'd probably. Let's see, 1, 2, maybe not actually. 3. Though you get rid of all your own monsters too, and they're destroyed during the end phase, that would have been kind of bad. And you have Brandon Red during the end phase because of Albion. That would have been kind of crazy. Yeah, so you have to activate that there. Just to chain it, they have to chain it, otherwise they lose out on the negation or on the summon. Probably goes for Doodle and Fancies because then Doodle can recur more advantage. Nope. And these two can't be destroyed by battle because of Weather Washer, and none of the cards can be destroyed by card effects this turn. So I feel like Nibiru would have been better, but he would have known, hey, I only have to play around one card, that being Pandemonium, so I could see both ways. Still think Nibiru would have been stronger, though. And then this is still, so Nibiru actually wouldn't have mattered in this case, because you go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they just wouldn't have mattered, so. How it goes sometimes. Sometimes they summon more than 5, but honestly, these fusions are just so strong. Just being able to do whatever you want in your graveyard, your deck, shuffling into banish, it's ridiculous. Don't see how the Prankins player can really come back. That was a really strong draw. Add Griffin here. And then you can go. Oh, he goes draw phase. Okay. So you can have to banish something. Oh, no, you can't even. Well, you can discard that to add Griffin and then get Aramesir. You can't summon it because of Token Collector. I mean, if Token Collector sticks in this deck, especially with this and soon to be a banish, it's going to be not good for the Prankins player. Let's see. 1, 2. Did he only banish 2? Oh, no, 3. 3, okay. So 2 from the field, 1 from the hand, okay. And then he's going to go Chainlink 1 Guardian Chimera, Chainlink 2 Ad libitum. And that chain blocks Ash. So Ash is live this turn. Which you should always just be chain blocking Ash. Prankins player just can't do anything. Again, because it's a Token Collector. It's big. It's so big. This really sucks for the Albaz player drawing 4 bricks. I mean, you don't really want to see this. Sometimes you do, if you have basic plays, but especially drawing the Celestial, Dasher, and Draco back, that is not good. They drew Dasher too, but they also drew Scythe, and they drew their Prankins and a Call by the Grave. This is not looking good. It really depends on what the Albaz player draws. Yeah, so Verte, I actually think is just correct in here. Met played around Nibiru, I think. Oh, no, he played it to Nibiru, but that's fine too. And he literally just set Scythe. So he shuffles Doodle, Meow, and Dropsies, which I think Meow is fine in this case, again, because you don't have any fusions, you don't have anything in the on the field to summon, so you just want to have that for next turn. Then followed it out as doesn't even matter in this case because he has DP. So he just goes DP, destroy it. Probably would have been better to destroy Verte. No, not Verte. I guess theoretically Verte and Scythe, but I can understand keeping the Verte because they do play Thunder Dragon Fusion. They play the one at Thunder Dragon Fusion for Battle Butler in the next turn. Yeah, you just kind of can't do too much. This is also a strong case for playing Polymerization because you can just fusion summon DP from your hand or anything else really, and go like Brandon Red summon. That would be really strong. But It's kind of the nature, yeah. So Prank Kids takes match 1. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the next match. Let's see. Albaz player wins the die roll. Let's see, Airmaster kind of gonna go through here. You don't get the Albaz fusions turn 1, but you do have them for follow-up turn 2, which I think is really strong as well. You just go DP, set Imperm, which Imperm's not the best versus Prank Kids, but it's enough sometimes. It's good enough in the Nature Dash, or Celestial. Yeah, standard, I think they're gonna wait here for a little bit. So he was thinking on right. And the reason is, hey, you hard drew right, cool, you have to have Water Enchantress at this point. And then that's going to go there, DP, I think he's going to chain Crow, yeah. Which, at that point, I don't know what you do. As the Prank Kids player, you just have to pass. Kind of embarrassing, but it happens sometimes where you only draw Prank Kids and not enough fusions. I think you still need to play Polymerization Prank Kids because of scenarios like this. And then you have to summon, of course. I think he's going to go... Yeah, he's going to defeat. Okay. Because Owlbear just searches whatever you want. You can fusion summon Owlbear on the field or whatever you want in deck. And there you go. So Prank Kids player is going to go first now. Alrighty, so they're going to open. So no hand traps from the Albaz player. But pretty standard opening from the Prank Kids player. Okay. Chainlink 1, of course, is the Prank Kids. Chainlink 2, Fateful Adventure. This is the #1 interaction in this deck, is to make sure you chain block Ash with your Fateful Adventure. Okay, there it is. Yep. Summon. Okay. Add Pandemonium. I think he accidentally mills Pranks because he thought it was Fansies, that's okay. He has Fansies in hand. Ooh, Ghost Ogre. This is going to be an interesting card versus Albaz because it doesn't do a whole lot. Sometimes it's good on normal summon Albaz, but that doesn't happen too often. Which Brandon... Let's see. Go summons all of that. Okay, yep, 10k. Which is still big. I think he's gonna chain Ghost Ogre. Yeah, I don't know why the Prank Kids chain Ghost Ogre. I don't think he knew that he can just shuffle any of them from the graveyard. Just thought it had to be a few specific cards, which is okay. You know, that happens sometime. He could have chained Thespian Comedy anyway, but so it didn't really matter. I just took a card out of his hand, but I don't think the Ogre is great versus this deck, except for Griffin. And of course. So he still gets that, still gets Adlib, still gets Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade's going to send Branded Dragon, and then your token, I feel like you would get the token. So Branded Opening is actually going to protect Mirror Jade in this case. Theoretically, you could have just let it die, but he wanted to kill the token and then wanted to kill another Prank Kids monster to get rid of the Draco Back, because the Draco Back does counter Mirror Jade in that case. Let's go ahead and see. Yep. Gonna do that, banish, and then attack one of the Prank Kids. And then during the draw phase, he could literally just go Branded in red and destroy the board, which would be really, really strong. And there's the Nibiru, which again, I think every single game so far has been under 5 summons, unless it's the adventure stuff. But yeah, you just have to go there. You can't do anything right there. So okay. That was match 2. Wow. So Albaz takes match 2. Alrighty. And then Albaz is going to go first again. Pretty strong opening, actually. The Ghost Ogre makes a difference, I think. Yep. So can't do anything. Still drew the hard drew the Destiny Fusion, or Fusion Destiny, excuse me, and has 3 hand traps lined up. One of which is the most impactful. That's really the issue. So it goes that, chains, cross out, so strong. Honestly, if you're playing an adventure deck, you need to be playing cross out too, because more homogeneous format makes cross out so much better, which is why we didn't really see it nearly as much in the previous formats, because there wasn't really there were best decks, of course. There was one best deck, but the only commonality between all of them was playing 2 or 3 hand traps that are the same. Now it's like you're playing every single 15 hand traps or so, maybe even 18 or 19 hand traps or defensive cards. So crossout really makes the difference now, and then you just get to have your whole combo resolved. This is the play with that. He's going to go ahead and get the... Forgot to get that, which is fine. Chain links. It was just playtesting over Discord, so... Yep. And go... Right. DP, kind of have to chain that, otherwise DP just gets removed. Go that. Then again, you could also go the Deathbeam Tragedy route of setting Brandon Red when you discard that for Lubellion. Which you learned from his mistake last match, he's not going to chain Ghost Ogre. Yeah, so discard that. So he's not even going to chain Ghost Ogre either, because again, Branded Red. Or, excuse me, Branded Opening just protects it anyway. Albion's going to get Branded Red. Token. That's so strong. He was going to use Branded Red, but there was no reason to, because DP is going to come back. The DP is strong, but it's just not enough versus this. But if you had like a Prankets card, maybe you could bait around it. But in this case, I don't think there's a whole lot you can do. Yeah, so you just Prankets player admits defeat. So Albaz player is going second this time. And ooh, super poly. Sanctum though. The Sanctum does hurt. I don't know if the Albaz player is playing something generic, but even something like Mud Dragon doesn't really do a whole lot because your Prankins monsters aren't lights at all, so you can't really have any light monsters on the field to make it work with something like Sanctum, or the artifacts that you summon off of Sanctum. Let's see. Though a Legal Knight in Dimension Force is going to be huge, because if you add on DP plus Legal Knight, cool. Now you have materials for Mud Dragon up the swamp. So this is going to be really strong. Honestly, you could just go low committal. If you want, you can high roll, because you just have the auto win, which I'm sure he's going to scoop if he doesn't have something like Ash Blossom. Even if he had Ash Blossom, hey, he has Sanctum. Or he is called, yeah. He just scoops. So game 3, that was a really quick game 2. Game 3, we will see what happens. Droll and Luck, we have not seen this card yet in these matches. So he actually made a mistake and is going to go ahead and go Water Enchantress first. Does that, yeah. Does it out of order, but again, Discord plays. Shows the Token Collector. If I were the Prankets player, I would, be kind of scared because you have the Right of Aramis Seer, and that's the only way you can protect your Prankets monsters. So I feel like he should have gone. I feel like he should have Veilered here, because it kind of forces you to have this, and it's coming up anyway, but that's okay. I think that was the only misplay, really. But he might have been trying to save it for Lubellion. Yeah, because then it forced you to use the Veiler there, and then gets rid of the Griffin, at least. So maybe that was the better play if he doesn't want to play with Griffin on his next turn, and that's okay. He can also, I guess he could have theoretically, used Frostlet on Griffin. I don't know if that would have been the best choice. So banish the token, and then this one go graveyard. Which losing Draco back really does hurt sometimes, because the battle protection is extremely relevant for a 2k monster. Go that. feel like you have to banish it now. Or might just wait, maybe. So destroy 2 next chain. So he still gets the Griffin Rider, but then has to deal with destroying 2. No, destroying 1, drawing 2. Oops. Okay. Goes there, that's been tragedy. Griffin, I think he was waiting for that. Oh yeah, so he chained the Griffin. Okay, destroy 1. Yep. Then D-Berry, this is gonna be a fun side. Just against Prank Kids, it does hurt, but mostly with Albaz, I don't know if this is correct necessarily because they're gonna be fusion summoning on your turn. Almost exclusively, otherwise they link summon on their turn. I guess for DP, that's cool, and just to stop their plays. So I could see him. Yep, there it is. So I feel like he should have discarded maybe the cross set and then been able to go Pandemonium. Still would have been banished, so and that would have been really hard to play around because there's nothing you can really do versus the banishing of Mirror Jade unless you have like Droplet or Chalice or something. So maybe we'll see more tech cards like that. Good matches from both players, of course. Of course, Albaz takes the victory here. I think both decks are going to adapt to each other in the following few weeks before Dimension Force comes out, when Albaz gets more support against Alba Renatus, which again single-handedly probably pushes Dragon Link out of the meta. Finally, because you can just set Albaz. Deal Tighting, Therions are going to be played. Could see a bunch of different versions of each deck played, but I think we'll see a huge shift, especially once Dimension Force comes out. Yeah, what else is there with these? Some misplays on both sides. That's okay though, that always happens. I think it wouldn't have changed too much if they were playing 100% optimally every single time, because a lot of the choices were really, really difficult. Again, with Albaz, just playing this deck is actually not easy. It's not super hard, but because Albaz is more of a mid-range deck, it is going to be harder than some like stun decks. Even some combo decks, like Prank Kids, I would argue is way easier than Albaz, even past turn 3 and beyond. Just because Albaz has so much grind once you get past that initial slope. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We're gonna have more matches versus Rogue and other meta decks. I'm curious to see what how kind of this evolves. I think Contacts will be played against Albaz, and I think Retaliating Sea, if Prank Kids doesn't get hit on the next list, is going to be played in Albaz, which doesn't hurt Albaz actually whatsoever because you summon Lubellion. Lubellion just shuffles from Vanish anyway. So interesting text, but it does hurt Prank Kids, especially on Rite of Aramesir, because then the Prank Kids monsters can't do anything, though they can potentially bounce Draco back. We'll have to see what happens with that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. This is Eric with OzoneTCG. I'll see you guys in the next one.